All right, Bob, welcome to Sasquatch Theory, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
All right, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. If you would, could you run us through your encounters that you experienced in Michigan?
Yeah, well, actually, I was I would say I was a very strong skeptic of Bigfoot. I never really believed it was possible, and I've studied a lot of anthropology. And when I was up north in Grayling, Michigan, a couple months ago, there was a Native American man that come up to me after me and my friends was we were checking out a mannequin of like a Bigfoot and just like, oh, it's Bigfoot, we found him. And he was like dead serious. He's like, oh, they're up here in Michigan. This is Bigfoot country, especially in the UP where I'm from. And I was just like, really? And he was like, oh yeah. So it was kind of like made me think like, wow, maybe I'm just being ignorant. Anyway, fast forward, like I get home, so I kind of start checking it out a little bit, like about the whole Bigfoot thing. And that's actually I first ran into your channel on Sasquatch Theory. I was like listening to people's like encounters. I decided to just kind of like give it a chance because it just kind of was like sticking with me a little bit. And you sounded very believable. Just like heartfelt. Like I heard about the little one. That was the one that I heard originally. You seen the little Bigfoot. And then from there I decided to go on and listen to the Tennessee turkey hunter because I used to actually live in North Carolina in the mountains, and I'll get into that later about when my stepdad had an encounter and like when there's like these cattle that got like massacred or whatever, like next to where I was living at. Um, but anyway, so I listened to him, and he explained it a lot, like pretty well. I felt like what I ended up later seeing on video and everything, how they move like a shadow and that type of thing, and the area that he was in. I remember driving through that area. It's on the Tennessee Kentucky border because I used to drive down there a lot because I used to live down there. Very rural, so I could see that as being possible. Anyway, um, so about I would say like 2 weeks after I had originally gone to Grayling and talked to the Native American guy, I was in Mansalona, which is only like 35 miles from Grayling, and I had a condominium that I rented, and I was hearing like knocks, like loud knocks, around like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening, and I was like, just like, what the hell's going on? Like I'm hearing knocks, just like someone hitting wood. And at about 2:30 a.m., I went back outside because I've left my toothpaste in the car. So I went out there, and this time when I went out there, I heard like five knocks in a row, and like a couple of them sounded like someone had a baseball bat and was just like hitting the tree, like if I was to take a baseball bat and hit the tree, that's what I imagined it sounding like. You know what I mean? And I told my girlfriend about it, and she came out and she actually heard it. So it's pretty strange. Like I never really experienced that before. And then it's gonna sound a little bit crazy, but we gotta get into the paranormal. We could get into the paranormal a little bit. I went to sleep, and then at about 7 a.m., I was having a dream about like a Sasquatch. Like when I was in the forest, and it was a Sasquatch that like ran to the right of me, and then all of a sudden, like I hear this whistle that just wakes me up out of my sleep, like a loud whistle. Like I can't whistle, so I'm not gonna try. But um, and then right after that whistle, I was kind of like groggy, like who the hell's whistling at my door type of deal. And then I kind of heard like I want to say like it wasn't faint, but it was a little bit far away. Like it sounded like rapid wolves is the only way I could make sense of it, the way it sounded. And then it slow, and then um, I was getting up out of my bed to like go see what the hell was going on, and the wolf sounds started getting like more guttural, and it got closer, and then I knew like whatever was behind my door was huge, like enormous, by the sound of something, like how large it is, you know what I mean. um and it sound I want to say like I was trying to like Google like the sounds because I was trying to remember exactly what it sounded like. Kind of sounded like maybe like a bear, or like a gorilla, like when it got real guttural like that at the door. And the sound scared me so much that I couldn't move. Like I was frozen with fear. and I was so scared I actually didn't even want to look at whatever was, because I could kind of see like a shadow from my window, because I had a big window next to the door in the condominium I was staying at, and it was like shaking the door, like whatever was behind my door was shaking it and like rattling it, and making like these like deep guttural breaths or something. Like it just sounded huge, you know. Uh, and I was trying to get up and walk to lock the door because I didn't think I had totally locked it. I have a habit of doing that, not locking the door at night. And so I kind of looked at it and it looked like it wasn't fully locked. I'm like, oh my god, like I gotta get to the door. I gotta lock this thing. Whatever's out there is gonna come and like take us out, you know. So um that was pretty much the experience. And that.
Thank you for sharing your experiences, and I have a few questions for you before we move on.
Yeah,
When you heard the knocking sounds, what do you think the message was?
you know that's a good question, and something that I really wouldn't be able to know the answer to. You know, I mean, I've never experienced it before. Um, you know, and I used to go out like on trails. I've never been a hunter or anything like that, but when I lived in North Carolina, I used to go like, you know, hiking and stuff like that. So I really couldn't give you a good answer, man. There was only like there was like one other family. It was like a condominium resort place, so there was like, you know, a bunch of condominiums, but there was only like one other family for the 2 days that I was there. Like, and they were kind of like, I want to say like 100 yards away from me. So that was the only other people that were there, and like I barely seen them. I didn't see nobody.
How did that make you feel when the Native American was dead serious about Bigfoot?
I'll be honest, it made me feel a little bit like I could be a little bit arrogant, you know, or ignorant about my thoughts, you know, about these things like not possibly existing. Because I mean, you know, if you look at it from a scientific perspective, from what I guess we're taught, you know, it's the only possibility like that I ever gave it was, you know, that maybe they were a gigantopithecus that lived in like the remote northwest that's like way up in the mountains, you know. But I really didn't think that was possible either. It was just kind of like a wishful thinking. So yeah, he kind of made me feel like, you know, maybe I'm wrong.
Now, earlier, were you insinuating that the Sasquatch tapped into your dream, or were you just thinking about it all day, causing you to dream about it?
I actually, well, I kind of have a bit of a theory. Like, if you like look uh, uh into our history about like like I'll just use like Europe for an example. Like the Celtic tribes and the Scandinavian tribes, Old Norse tribes, like even, you know, Greeks, the Romans, like people that could see the future in their dreams, and like things of that nature were just kind of like everybody knew that that was real. You know what I mean? It wasn't like questioned and like ostracized if you seen a future in your dream, or if you know, can kind of sense events and stuff like that. There, you know, there was names for these, like there's seers and, you know, like stuff like that. And not, you know, I mean, I mean, I could tell you that I've had like, you know, many paranormal things that have happened that I can't explain logically, and I'm a very analytical person, in a lot of ways. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Do you feel like the two are connected or just two random separate events?
It's crazy, you know. Um, it's kind of crazy for me to say this, but I think it might just be random. But at the same time, um, it wouldn't be the first paranormal experience that in the physical world that I've actually had. So it's weird though, because, you know, if I was to think a Bigfoot would exist, right, they would be a primate, like us, you know, probably closer to apes, like a, you know, great apes, which, you know, I've kind of got theories on what they could be. Um, and, you know, you wouldn't expect them to be able to just like tap into your dream, just like if you're thinking logically. So it's, but then again, man, maybe they know about things that we've been kind of shielded from, like, even in India, the sixth sense, like the pineal gland. I think it's real at this point. I mean, if you wanted to hear one of my stories about paranormal, I can give you one. But it's I don't know. If I was to take a guess, I'm gonna have to say it's random, just because like I'm trying to stay in like that. They're an evolutionary biological organism, that happened to evolve these specific traits that allow them to be extremely sneaky, extremely fast, and extremely smart.
So you mentioned that it came up to the place that you guys are staying at. Can you kind of describe that more?
Well, yeah, I could say that after, like literally I went to sleep after all this happened. Like I wouldn't even open the door or look or anything, because like by the time I ended up getting to the door from like the noises, it was like kind of gone and faint, like faint going away, you know what I mean? Like it was gone at that point. By the time I like opened it, tried to like see if the door was locked, which it was locked. So
How,
but
how
it
far
was
away
still
were they when they were growling?
right up at the door.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like shaking the door.
Now,
Yeah, the
did
door was like shaking.
did one like grab the handle or just like kind of
No,
just
I
push up
I
against the door?
I really don't know. Like between the noise, like it's like in your head you think like you could react like, oh, maybe if you had a push your door, you pull out your phone, or But in that moment, like I was like just afraid, just I was like scared. It's like I couldn't move almost, to be honest. So I really like I was not exactly aware of like if the door handle was moving. You know what I mean? Because I literally covering my eyes because the window, like I said, I saw a large shadow from the window. You know what I'm saying? The window was foggy as hell. Because it was at 7 o'clock in the morning, up north in Michigan. It was already getting cold. So yeah, it was definitely like foggy. So I was I was scared. I was holding my eyes, covering my eyes. So that's how scared I was. So not to look at it.
Yeah. What time of year did this occur?
This happened. Shoot, what's this? I want to say it's just last month or September. Let me see. Let's see.
So it was pretty recent, huh?
Yeah, it was recent. I would say it's about a month. I think it was about like the beginning of October or the end of September.
Now, have you heard any stories from that exact location or in that general area?
Oh God, man. This is where it kind of gets interesting. There's an Eagle cam. And this was on like MSNBC. I'd seen it like a while ago, like years ago, because I think it happened in 2016. It was a natural fish hatchery. About I want to say from where I was, I think it was about 25, 30 miles. It's like southwest of me, but there was an video camera footage of a Bigfoot looking creature, just like kind of like hopping through the forest there, and it had some long arms, man. It was black. Um, I I tried to slow it down to like 0.25 on YouTube, and I actually found that it was setting like little ones down, and then I seen the little one pop his head out and pop his head back down, and that's kind of like the way that's kind of like the way I've been able to see them in videos is like when I slow it down and I can see them pop their heads out and pop them back, and then you start becoming more knowledgeable about the subject, either tree peeking and all this stuff about them. You know what I mean? Like going from 0% belief to 100. Um, with all of these things, it's like how could this be fake? If all of these people talk about the tree peeking, I see them in video tree peeking. They'll like how loud I heard them freaking growl. If that's what it was, the whistle. Like I never knew they could whistle. You know what I mean? Until I got back home and researched it.
Yeah. And how did this affect your girlfriend? You said she was there at the time, right?
She kind of woke up at first. She was like on Peloton to sleep because she had sleep. She was like really tired, and I was like, "Babe, don't move." She woke up. She's like, "What's that?" And you know what I mean, and turned over. That was it. And I'm like, "Babe, don't move. I'm gonna try to see if the door's locked." Yeah, she she just woke up and back to to be honest. That was a reaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier something about North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Could you go into that and kind of tell us about
Yeah.
that?
So I'll first tell you my stepdad's story, and then I'll tell you when I actually lived there too. I'll tell you his first. Okay, so my stepdad never really had like any encounters, nothing like that. He grew up in I don't know if you know where Asheville is, but he lived north of Asheville, like in a country area. There's something called Barnardsville area, which is about, I want to say, 20 miles north of Asheville. And he and his buddies went camping one time, like way up in the mountains. And this is funny. They were sleeping in the cabin, right? And then they heard like this animal roar when they were sleeping. His friend had jumped out the second story cabin window through the glass outside. He got scared. He was that scared when it happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And my stepdad was like, I don't know, I never heard nothing like that ever again. That was the only time I ever heard it. And he said that it kind of sounded a bit like a gorilla.
Sounded like something massive outside, huh?
Right. Something huge, and that you just can't make that noise. Just like when I was thinking that maybe it was playing with the dogs, like at my door at first, but then when I got closer, I knew like, man, whatever this is, it's huge. You know what I mean? It's fucking monstrous.
Yeah. And do you think that they're just trying to scare you when they're doing that, or maybe having some fun, or do you think it's some serious?
When they came to they came to my door, I'd like to think that maybe with the sixth thing, like maybe what I would like to think, maybe they said that I was like, I don't know, like one, like they were at that point, 'cause I was researching, at kind of not that much, but I was starting to, like believe a little bit, when I seen those things moving on Real Man videos. That was actually prior to me going and having my encounter. I was seeing these things moving. I'm just kind of like, man, I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's CGI or what, but I was hearing some like faint, like weird, like timing too on the video. But I kind of, like anybody will do that, big, but nah, you know what I mean. Kind of just push it to the side. But yeah, I don't know. I would
Yeah.
say, if I'm gonna think like what most people would say, yeah, they're just fucking with us, I guess. Um, excuse my language, but just messing around.
Yeah, I agree. And it's hard to say if it's the little juveniles coming up to the house or the big Sasquatch.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, if these things do get up to whatever 9, 10 feet, maybe like a 6 foot, 7 foot, or a 6 foot one, maybe it'd be like a teenager. It could still probably sound like massive just because of their build or whatever.
Okay. You mentioned you had another story.
Mm-hmm.
Could you go into that one?
Yeah. So there was it's kind of crazy because so I was in college down there, and I had been in a biology class, and they were talking about mountain lions, being extinct or whatever. But my neighbor, but this was in North Carolina. I lived near, I would say, 15 miles west of Asheville, and my neighbor was talking about something was killing his cattle. Like he had a horse, a cow, and they got slaughtered, like, just ripped apart by a creature. He didn't know what it was. He'd been there all his life, and then one night they actually seen a cougar. They said that that attacked one of their one of the cattle. They're supposed to be extinct in that region. So long story short, there was another time when something attacked it, and they didn't think it was a cougar. He had like a bunch of cattle. He had like horses and sheep, and just slaughtered like a big ass horse.
Yeah, it
So
didn't seem like something a mountain lion would do.
right. So it's kind of funny because if you go by like, all right, if you go by the side, and I actually told my one of my professors out there, I was like, neighbor said they seen a cougar and like it slaughtered his cow or whatever. You know what I mean? And they were supposed to be extinct in the region. So I don't know. But yeah, the horse one, that one, they don't know what that was. It was totally slaughtered though. You know?
Yeah, I hear a lot of reports out of North Carolina, so I know.
Yeah, I actually heard a crazy, a crazy story out of North Carolina about this this guy that this was just me just like researching because I lived in the area, and like there was this guy that he was got like attacked by his cabin was getting attacked by Bigfoot. Like they ripped off his porch and like it's crazy.
You got me curious now about the paranormal story. If you would tell us your craziest paranormal story or the most wild one you got.
That are just they're not even similar, but they're both just insane. I'm kind of just gonna quit. This one actually, one time happened this year. It just I don't even know. It's just strange. So I just had a dream. I was in the back of like a car and I was watching this shooting happen in the exact same spot that it ended up happening 2 hours later. Like I'd seen it and I called my girlfriend. Like I had a dream this kid got shot. You know what I mean? 2 hours later, this kid got shot in the exact same spot. And I don't live in Detroit. I live north of Detroit, so it's not like a high crime area. You know, and that freaked me out. You know, because I seen it on the news and I was like, oh well, maybe I had heard it in my sleep prior. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I dreamed that. But it actually happened like way before. You know, like when I had at the time that I had my dream, it happened like later on in the day from my dream.
Yeah, that is strange. It's kind of like seeing into the future.
It was crazy, man. Like it freaked me out, but that's not the only time that I've had like a dream like that. But that was the scariest one, just because like I seen somebody get killed, and yeah, that was screwed up. And my other dream, all right. No, this isn't my dream. This is my other event that happened. This happened to like my whole family. So this is just gonna sound kind of like off the wall crazy, but it just kind of like it's something to say, like get it out there, like because this actually really happened. You know what I mean? Um, might as well get it out there. So we had this old dresser, um, and one day, I lived with my parents at the time, and I could hear my stepdad screaming like, so on this dresser was like almost a relief of like I want to say like flower design and stuff like that. It was an old dresser, like it was from like the 20s, I think. Like fancy old dresser, and like this relief. He was saying that it was removed, like so the handles were on the relief, right? So like all this was just gone, like vanished. Yeah, my stepdad was telling like, who the hell cut this off or whatever. And so this piece of dresser, like, where the handles, connect to, and the handles were just gone, like just vanished. And like so this was happening. There's sort of like 3 weeks. There's no connection, like no part there where the handles are. And I kid not. 3 weeks later, like in the morning, my stepdad was like, "What the hell? It's back!" My stepdad's from North Carolina. Like he's a farmer, like old school redneck. You know what I mean? Like no bullshit type of guy. And then I come down the stairs and I'm like, everybody's screaming in my house because we all know that this piece has been missing. You know what I mean? And we're like, what the hell? How did that? And then I went to the bathroom, so I didn't see it. But my brother and my cousin went in the room and they're like, it's gone again. You know what I mean? It was gone to that. And then my mom said it was gone. So then I get out of the bathroom and like we all go back in the room because everybody's like freaking out. And then the piece is back and it looked like it was never removed. Like like I said, it's like a relief carving of like flowers outward on it. So the way it's connected, it just looked like it was never removed ever. Like I don't know how the hell that was even possible. So that was just something that was paranormal in this, that was actually happening in our matter world. You know what I mean? Something had disappeared for weeks and come back. and looked like it was never removed. We even had a professional like woodworker come out and look at it, and he said it looked like it was never removed, and that's honest to God truth.
Yeah, that's why they call it the paranormal. And it's weird how they're able to manipulate matter and the way we perceive the world. And I don't know.
I mean, it feels weird for me to even talk about that because that's the most craziest thing that I've ever, honestly, probably ever like experienced. Because it's matter, and then it was gone, and then it went back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard some wild paranormal stories, and yeah, I mean, this stuff does happen. There really isn't an answer for it.
Yeah, I actually I was listening to yours about what happened with like your speaker and the synchronicity, or like you heard like that guy that was from hell or something like that.
Yeah,
that was the other day. That was pretty intense.
Yeah, that was wild, and the activity after that just kept happening for about, I don't know, I'd say like 4 to 6 months.
Wow.
So yeah, it was weird because it was just me and my dog there experiencing it. Me and my husky. You know, I was single.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
just got out of a relationship, so it's just like me and this dog experiencing everything. So if it wasn't for that dog, I would feel a lot more crazier than what I already feel, because he reacted to each situation that happened. All the bangs, or sounded like babies were crying in the house, or cabinets opening and shutting. You know, like when I was looking, you know, wide-eyed,
That's
he
crazy.
was looking too. You know, he was instantly looking too. So to me, that confirmed to me that there was something going on, because you know, for a while I was just thinking, you know, is this going on in my head? Like, am I going crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Could be, you know, but it's good to have people around you when it's happening, because it's a crappy situation when it just happens to you. Then you can't tell anybody, and then there's nobody to back you up.
Right on. That's kind of like it, almost like that with the Bigfoot too. Like if someone was with you, you sound like more believable.
Yeah, you kind of have that bit of relief, because you know, okay, this person saw it. But yeah, when you have a crazy experience and it's just you, you know, it's always going to be just you. So
I mean, my girlfriend heard, like, she said, "What was that?" and just kind of went back to sleep. You know what I mean? When I was, up north when I had my encounter. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine being alone with cabinets opening and closing. That's crazy. The one thing about it though is it kind of makes you happy. You realize, like, man, we're not just in this rat race of like a society where everything is just kind of like material and material things, and you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, and you want to tell people about it, but nobody believes you, or you know, can't really. I don't know. It's hard to use that to motivate people, or to try to explain the paranormal to people. You know.
And that's why, honestly, I try to like avoid it out of like what my experience is with Bigfoot and what I'd seen. Like, I don't equivalate it to like paranormal. You know what I mean? I see it as like a flesh and blood creature, and it's not, that I do believe that humans have a sixth sense. I mean, animals got like other senses that we don't have, for whatever, sensing like where something is and whatnot.
Yeah, it could be possible that if humans do have these abilities, you know, within their mind, and they're able to, I don't know, maybe see into the future, or know things that other people couldn't know, it could be possible that the Bigfoots can acknowledge that, or sense that, or in tune with it. It's hard to say.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking was possible. Yeah. I mean, for me, it would make sense in my like particular situation, but I know that others maybe just are just out in the forest and, hey, come across a Bigfoot that's kind of just caught off guard, or
Yeah, I get a lot of people in my comments, or not a lot of people. There are a few people that get upset if I talk about God or the paranormal or UFOs. You know,
right? Yeah,
they make sure to tell me, that I'm really risking my credibility by talking about these things, and it really makes the whole topic not unbelievable, the whole Bigfoot topic. But for me,
Mhm.
it's like, why? You know, if it happened to people, why? Why should they hide it?
But that's why I just decided to tell you. I've only told like probably like 5 people about in the gun thing. The person I've only told like 3 people. So you know, I don't I don't talk about it too much, but it's I feel like it kind of should be known. And even like how I was talking about my channel, like I was starting to delve into like kind of like the paranormal aspects of history, like historical figures and stuff like that. I don't know, like some on like my Instagram channel that I had made on that YouTube channel was something I was doing like I think last year. I don't know. It's just so with the Bigfoot thing, like so basically I kind of got drawn like after I got back home, like I was supposed to go back up there with my friends because we were gonna check. He had behind his cabin, he has like a lot of like privately owned land by this old guy for like miles, like way out in the swamp and stuff like that. And no one goes back there, and it's definitely country. It's forest. So long story short, I ended up getting pneumonia, and I couldn't go up there. So I was just like freaking researching, all this stuff about Bigfoot like online. That's because I couldn't go up there for 3 weeks or whatever. And that's when I come across like I started breaking down those videos. And I'm clearly seeing these creatures like there's some type of a primate on the tree there. Like on my one video, if you go to 707, like I've showed like a lot of my friends now and they can see they're like, man, that looks like a chimp. They're starting to be like, well, I don't know what that is. Like that kind of looks like a monkey on a tree or you know what I mean? And
What do you think about the people that have seen like video footage of these things and still don't believe, like the Patty footage, or I don't know, there's all kinds of them floating around the internet.
well, one of my like we've been so like I don't want to say like brainwashed, but maybe just conditioned to believing that that thing can't be real. You know what I mean? Bigfoot, it's just like a running joke. Like for me, I'm an example. I've experienced paranormal stuff, and then yet here still I am, like like laughing like that Bigfoot was possible before I had an experience. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
I think for other people, it might even be harder to accept that, that there's a primate that is intelligent. I don't know how intelligent they are, but I've seen like, on your video when you went out in the forest and found those like tree structures and stuff like that. That was insane. That was like, wow. Like it's taken like a level of intelligence. Like there was like artwork, and that's a sign of high intelligence, man. Like these things are
Yeah.
small.
Yeah, I agree.
So I just think that it's very hard to believe. Like we think we know we think we know all what's out there. Like did you I hate to like change the subject on this, but did you hear of the Billy ape of the Congo? Like they were saying like that, that they were like man-eating chimps. Like you're familiar with that and
Mm.
like they didn't like there was no proof of these things until like I don't know if it was 2003 when one guy went in, but then there was like a whole team that ended up going in I think in 2016 and got like good footage of them and stuff like that. So there's like these like really big chimps that were like I think like some of them were like 5'10", like 300 pounds, 350, like a gorilla. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen them. They're like a bigger chimp.
Right. So it's
Yeah.
like but people didn't believe that either. That those things are real. A lot of prominent like kind of read about it. Like a lot of scientists didn't think it was like true. It was just a myth before they like, went out there.
Yeah. I think the hardest part for people to believe about Bigfoot is just the small towns that this stuff happens in, because these people
Yeah.
live there their whole life, and then all of a sudden someone pops out, saying, I saw Bigfoot. It's just really hard for people to wrap their mind around because they've been there too, but,
Yeah.
not everyone want to see.
That's maybe because like a lot of people go out in the forest and everything, and like hardly anybody sees these things. Like by population percentage, yeah, I can definitely hear you. That's definitely makes that's definitely part of the conversation of why people don't believe it. I feel like if you like, I don't know, like kind of like like, be negative about the subject, but like find Bigfoot, just it was actually funny to like I laugh at it, to be honest, and I think that's kind of just the general consensus on it.
Yeah,
The whole
I enjoyed it. I mean, I got a good laugh out of it. There's a few guys in there that were all right, but yeah, as far as like the Matt Moneymaker guy and
yeah,
I don't know the other lady, I didn't really care for them, but I don't know. I thought Bobo was cool and the
yeah.
guy from Washington, he was all right.
Yeah, no. So there was actually like I went back and combed through now that I'm more aware, and like I seen some things on there that I was like, huh, there might have been like there was one video that I actually like slowed down to 0.25, and I seen like 3 sets of glowing eyes like moving around like pretty up high. I'm like, well, they might have actually caught one and like didn't realize it, but caught one on film. But yeah, yeah, the one biologist lady, ugh, I don't know.
Yeah, the skeptic.
It's like, yeah, there's always a freaking logical explanation for everything for in her mind. But like, I would
Yeah.
like to see what she has to say about that Michigan video. Uh, that I want. I don't know if you've seen it. But it's definitely worth a look. It's the Eagle Cam. It's a wildlife, like
Yeah,
fish.
I have a friend from Michigan, and she shared that with me in the
Oh,
beginning of the year. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually got a few ideas that I want to try from seeing the video.
oh
Like
yeah,
here in Missouri, like a bunch of squirrel nests up in the trees, and just like pile up a bunch of leaves. I don't know, if it's probably the same in your area, but I was thinking about taking one of my cameras and hiding it on those nests and
yeah.
aiming it down. I don't know how it worked. Eagle came and gave me
Yeah.
that idea.
That actually, I mean, it caught one. I think that was a legit Bigfoot. Like the way it moved, like I slowed it down. I set the one down, kind of like off its shoulder or something like that. Like that kind of these things seem to move. Like they perceive reality and move like so fast. It's one thing I noticed. Like that, it just I don't know.
One of the coolest videos I've seen, I don't know if it's real, but it looked pretty real to me, was this one where people were like walking up on these huge boulders, and all of a sudden you see this Bigfoot stand up and it's like panicking and it grabs its baby, and like you can see it holding its baby. And it's like you can see the baby moving and looking and like kind of pushing off the mother, and she's like scurrying out of there. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Yeah, I think I did see that one.
I mean, that one's pretty good footage. So if it's real,
Mhm.
I mean, people really need to look at that one.
Right, that one's like it's almost to where like I don't want to say that one's real because of how good it is. That's how strong that something like if something's like right in front of your face, like it's like can you even believe it? Like because it's so foreign. Like holy smokes.
That's the thing, is when you see this stuff, like when I saw them, it's like you can't believe it. You know you saw it, but you can't believe it. So if you're filming this and then you're showing people on a little phone or a blown up YouTube video, they're not going to believe it, because even if they
Yeah.
were standing there, they wouldn't have believed what they were looking at.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. The
'Cause it's always going to look like a guy in a suit. I mean, that's what they look like. They look clumsy. I mean, they look like a guy in a suit.
yeah, I see that. Well, I got a question for you. I know you're in the interview, but I got a question for you about what do you think like that they're closer to like human or closer to like chimp or gorilla? I've never seen them in person. I want to at this point.
I
But
mean, they have a lot of gorilla characteristics, but they're more human. They're kind
right.
of beyond human, just because nobody's, we haven't broke that gap between them yet. So the fact that they're still hiding out there and
Mhm.
they're self-aware. I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
They're a type of hominid. I think
yeah.
they're just big, but I wouldn't say they're human. I wouldn't say they're primate. I would call them Bigfoot.
Have you? I hear you. That's all. I mean, I've started like thinking about calling him like a North American primate, like an unknown, but just to like kind of make it sound more Like when I'm talking, like when I'm trying to like convince people, like my cousin and stuff, like I don't know. I mean, I can't really. I've showed them some things though now where they're kind of like, oh, well, I don't know what that is. I'm just not gonna claim to know what it is, you know. Which that's fine, you know.
Yeah. I mean, if they really do have Nephilim blood in them, I mean, it'd be cool to change the name to like Wood Devils or Ape Devils or something.
Oh yeah. uh, it's. I mean, when the more I think about it, like they might have like I don't know. I don't want to get it. Like I said, I'll just keep it evolution, whatever. Like I'll keep it, you know, in this realm, whatever. I was thinking they could possibly have some type of like special ability because sometimes when I catch them on video, like I'll notice kind of like they kind of like fade out almost. Like you know, people claim they might quote unquote cloak. I think they might have like a weird trait where they could change like their fur when the sun hit it or something like that. I don't
Yeah, I think so too.
trying to make that. I don't think they like close like the predator, but you know, but
Mhm.
I don't
Now,
know.
you got sick the last time. Do you plan on going back up there and staying
Yeah,
again?
yeah, I do. I plan on going like probably in the next couple of weeks. I got a buddy of mine that's actually like a film. I don't know. He was sort of interested in he's a film agent or whatever. I'm interested in shooting something. So, you know, we're gonna do it sometime. Like you know, probably in the next month.
Yeah, you might as well. It sounds like you got a good area. The stuff just recently happened. I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
a good time to get in there and see what you can experience.
Yeah, I really want to. I do really want to. Definitely my bucket list. We're definitely gonna get that done. Um, there's actually this one was kind of. Have you seen it? There was another one in Michigan, and this is actually only like I want to say like an hour and 20 minutes from me, so it's like not that far. And it looked like it was like all over the internet. I see like this orange one that maybe was a man in waders like on the Cass River in Michigan, and it just happened like a month ago. I don't know if you're like familiar with it though, but
Oh.
it's pretty interesting. I mean, I could send it to you if you'd like to see it. I haven't done any like real. I look in slow motion. It looks like there's a little one moving like on its back, like kind of changing position. Like it's something that I noticed. Um, like a little one like attached to it, kind of like climbing up on its back. Oh, I wanted to make one mention that because I remember I was listening to your video. You said you didn't see their ears,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I didn't see any ears.
I picture. I'm gonna give this one channel a shout out because she didn't actually see it, but I've been like just kind of like watch. I didn't have nothing better to do with pneumonia, man. All I did was like squatch, like from armchair squatching, basically from the watching others' videos, kind of like looking for movement and whatnot. In like what I would consider like a squatchy area, and it used to be funny to see like when they say this area looks squatchy, but there really is a real like merit to that. I realize that now.
Yeah, it helps watching the shows because like when I was out there in the field having activity, I just walk around kind of like clueless. I knew I was experiencing the activity, but I was just like, "The heck was that?" And
Right.
it kept happening. But it wasn't until I'd go back and watch these shows and they start like talking about the thumps and stuff.
Right.
Okay,
Like
so someone else is experiencing it. I just thought it was just I don't know what it was.
yeah, there was actually I forgot to mention at like around the time I heard that like real loud knock, I felt like like something that, like fell, like and kind of like the ground kind of shook a little bit.
Kind of like if you picked up a big log and threw it down on the dirt. Like on
Yeah.
the park.
Yeah, actually, I told my girlfriend about that too. Yeah, there was something that, like shook the ground a little, and like I said, I was green to it. I didn't really know what the hell like a Bigfoot they were capable of, like what could do, like But so on this one girl's like YouTube Western New York Sasquatch. I mean, she's got recordings of these things like talking, like they like repeat English words. Like they have the guttural. You could hear the gutturalness in them too, and a lot of them like the deep, giant sounding. And I think she's actually legit, just because like when you watch like her equipment, it's not that great, and she's like by herself. So it's really crazy. It's pretty eye opening. Anyway, I got a picture of what I know is a Bigfoot, right? And I caught it on video walking between the trees. It's real thick. It's like thicker than the tree, and it's like a giant, looks like a big like an oak tree that it's next to. And it walks like in between these two trees. And I think I got a picture of its ear. So that was kind of what I was talking about, and I could send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll send that to you. I had a basically, are you familiar with gibbons? Like
Gibbons. The
they're like
monkey?
kind of, yeah, they're like they're actually considered a lesser ape. Like they're an ape. They're considered an ape. They're the oldest ape. Like they're, in the evolutionary line. And I was reading like that they actually had like a human like chest, certain parts of the chest that are more human like than like other apes. They also walk bipedally, um, and they're very they're the best in the trees. So I actually think that whatever the Bigfoot, like when I'm watching this Bigfoot, it's like in the trees, they move like gibbons. Like when I catch them, like how fast they swing, you know what I mean? How they're jumping off the branch and stuff like that. Yeah, they're moving like gibbons. It's something that I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah, they're extremely fast.
hmm Gibbons can swing 35 miles an hour. It says, from tree to tree, arborally. And I think that Bigfoots have like, so that what that tells me is like, that they didn't evolve from like a chimp or something, like, because there was a older apes that had like these human like traits actually, like in the chest cavity and just even like the walking. There's 6 million year old fossils of like upright walking feet like embedded into the sediment.
Hmm. I find it strange that some Bigfoots have been reported to look like chimps, and some like chimpanzees, and a lot of them I've heard look like gorillas, and some
Yeah,
human. It's strange.
it is. That's why I'm kind of thrown by it. Like I was honestly doing a lot of research on like what it could be from like the evolutionary like hominid uh Australopithecus line or whatever. And there was a couple that kind of would make sense to me, like a Homo habilis, like it's by the brain, like the brain. Some of this or the bigger ones had like a brain CC of like 850, while a chimp only has 400 CC. So it was like double that of a chimp.
I can't remember where I read it, but I think they said either like chimps or gorillas are able to process information 50 times faster than humans.
That would make
I don't
sense.
know.
That,
I don't know if that's true, but if it comes to like hiding and just
hmm
being able to outwit your opponent, I mean, probably.
right. Maybe like fast thinking or yeah.
I mean, the way they move through the trees, like some of the monkeys, they're like squirrels. So you'd have to be able to quickly process all that information as you're running through the trees. And if Bigfoots do that too, I
Yeah.
mean, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't even know until like just this past week that they were so like good in the trees. Like I was just been doing research and I started seeing them in the trees. Like where there was one on the ground, like on one of my videos, I got one. I didn't shoot a very good video. Like I would like to redo it, but like you could clearly see this one like that I was telling you about earlier, where it kind of like the one was running on the ground and it had a conical head. Like it took I got its like movement, like where it's taking a jump and then like a one step. It didn't look like a human movement. Like it didn't look like a guy who could do this. You know what I mean? The way it was moving, like it would take like these giant like skipping steps on one leg. And right above it, I started seeing, like when I was just looking back over it, I started seeing these literal ones in the tree swinging, and one of them jumped from like a branch to another branch. And there was another one that I think is a female, and actually you see her like it's kind of crazy. You see her breasts, but she's like it's like she's kind of like cloaking like in and out, but like, you could definitely see that. I followed her. I ended up tracking her, like because I like from the very beginning when we started walking towards her. she went around a tree and came like forward towards him. So I know like it was her or whatever, you know. So I know it just wasn't like I wasn't having like a what is that pareidolia because I tracked where it actually moved from branch to branch, you know.
Yeah. Do you think the juveniles start off on all fours and eventually, when they get older, they stand up upright?
Well, when I'm seeing some of the juveniles in the trees, they're like standing up. Actually, like I can see their legs, you know.
Mhm.
But on the ground, I think that since I remember in your encounter, you said it kind of like walked like a chimp, right? Like it wobbled.
Yeah, it started off on all fours, and then when it got up, it did that wobble, and then when it got behind the tree, it like slowly hid behind the tree.
I think it's I would think it's like both. Because I've actually caught them on video. Like I think they actually just are kind of like adapt to doing both.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you got out there again and maybe experience a little bit more. Well, I don't know if that'd be cool, but
No, I'd like to. I want to see them with my own eyes, you know. I mean, like
Yeah.
I said, I'm a believer. Well, I don't even want to say believe because it's just kind of like I follow the evidence. I still like with all the paranormal and everything else, I still follow where the evidence is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going by like empirical evidence, like on video and what I experience. You know what I'm saying? Kind of just combining the two. I'm not going off like a belief or anything like that because I didn't
Yeah.
believe that it existed. So.
So you want to see one?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, if you get out there and you experience more, I'd like to have you back on the show if you're up for
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
it. Okay. Well, I guess we're getting towards the end, but Bob, I appreciate you getting a hold of me and telling me your encounters.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah,
Really
man.
like your work. I'll spread the word about you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Well, you have yourself a good night, and we'll talk soon.
Definitely. Have a good night, man.
Yeah, you too. Take care.